everybody. Welcome to Talking Tuesdays 2015, a space on the internet where women of color get to speak on their own terms about world issues. There is no one else doing this, connecting women of color globally, getting their thoughts and their opinions on the world, unabridged, unedited, and very, very real. That's what we do because we're possible women. So thanks for bearing with us. I'm sorry we're a bit late, but as you may know from previous Google Hangouts, the platform is a little bit moody. So today it started throwing a tantrum, but we dealt with it and we're all here and we're happy to be here. So I'm going to not speak too much. What I'm going to do is basically introduce my girls who are here to join me because we're going to talk about the world. So first and foremost, let's have Siana speak to us. Tell us who you are, Siana.
Hi everyone, glad to be here. My name is Siana Bangura and I am a writer, journalist and blogger from London. I'm also, excuse me, the editor of a platform called No Fly on the Wall, which is a platform to celebrate and put a focus on intersectional feminism. I'm very much a women's rights activist and I love all the black girls out there with their magic.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. I love it too. Now over to one of my oldest friends. Say it for yourself, darling. How are you, Miss Lala?
I'm good, I'm good. So good they named me twice, baby.
Tell us what you do. Tell us what you do.
Well, I am a blogger as well. I'm also a presenter and I'm a bit of a gym rat. Yeah, I like going to the gym, I like blogging and I like talking. So this is a great platform for me, so I'm really excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I'm live and direct from New York City, where it's nice and hot.
Living!
Oh, it's amazing here. And I'll be enjoying that a little later. But this is really important. So we got about 4 questions, which is really about the current affairs going on now. I know that in the UK, you guys are really ramping up to the elections that's coming on Thursday. We're going to talk about that a little later. But, you know, we've been living in changing times. We've been living in times that people want more. People want more respect. People want more transparency. People want more freedom to live their lives the way that they want to live. And you know what? People want to be seen as human. So in all of the change that we've been living in at the moment, and we know that there's been some deaths and should we just say a continuation of deaths of black people in police custody. And so from that has sprung lots of uprising, lots of kind of demonstrations. So tell me, you know, can we really help the world understand that Black Lives Matter? Let's start with Siana. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, first of all, I mean, you know, this is 2015 and it just boggles my mind that we have to have a conversation about making the world accept that Black Lives Matter. That doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Yeah. But as this is the case, that most of the world doesn't seem to think that Black Lives Matter, yeah, it's not, I don't know, it's not really a case of making other people understand. I think it's like a case of just demanding our power, essentially. That's what's happening now, because I think it's not a case of, you know, begging other people for power or begging other people to see us as humans. Like, we're way past that. It's not something we need to be doing. It's a case of, like, putting the spotlight on ourselves and saying, do you know what? Like, we are actually the first people, okay? Like, life began in Africa, for starters, okay? So, you know, people need to understand that. But yeah, I think it's a case of we need to stand up for ourselves. People, you know, I don't condone violence and stuff, but the reason why there's violence in Baltimore and Ferguson is because people are tired of being slaughtered on the streets. Of course, Black Lives Matter. And I just don't understand why the rest of the world doesn't get that. I really don't.
I hear you. Miss Lala, what's your thoughts? Can we make the world understand that Black Lives Matter?
Do you know, I'm really glad that you kind of asked this question today, because I kind of had a similar train of thought the other day, and I came across this brilliant photograph of this woman who was demonstrating at in Baltimore, and she held up this poster which just kind of just said everything to me. So I'll just read it out quickly. She said, "Yes, all lives matter, but we're focused on the black ones right now, okay? Because it's very apparent that our judicial system doesn't know that. Plus, if you can't see why we're exclaiming that Black Lives Matter, that maybe you're a part of the problem." So for me, that kind of just said everything. And you know, I just feel like, you know, in 2015, why do we have to have a hashtag that actually says that? The fact that we have to have this conversation says a lot about how people outside of our communities, and probably within our communities as well, kind of value themselves and value our lives, value our contribution to this planet. You know, I just feel it's just such a weird conversation to have, but clearly we need to have it, because the stats and the numbers clearly show that, you know, we are being offed in record numbers, and it's serious out there. It's a very, very, very sad thing, and I feel like the more that we speak about it, the more, you know, aware we're making people, and it's an unfortunate thing that we have to make people aware of it, but clearly we have to do it. You know, our survival is paramount.
Yeah, Siana, I agree with both of you, and I think you've both made some really good points. I think, Siana, you're right. There's a point there. Why do we have to even be concerned about making people realize the value in Black Lives Matter? But unfortunately, because we don't live in a silo, because we live with other people, and these other people have power structures and are there to, you know, we pay them to protect and serve us, and are dishing out justice and not going through due process. I think that's why there's a slight onus on us. It shouldn't be the case, but there is an onus on us to make sure people don't forget our humanity. Because
no, I agree with you 100%. Right. I think my point is, of course, we have to, but it's just, like Lala said, it's so weird to have to do that. Like, nobody else has to justify their humanity in the way that Black people have to all the time, without fail, exhaustively. Even in, you know, other communities of color, there's still a lot of anti-Blackness, and we still have to justify our Blackness to other people of color. Like, I just don't get it at all.
Yeah, I completely hear you, and that's the thing, you know. One thing I understand is that we can have similar experiences as people of color, and what I also know is that visible minorities have more similarities, I think, than other people who form other minorities, so things that are not visible. And so there's a very specific experience there, and while they may understand oppression, while they may have some instances of prejudice against them, there isn't actually whole systems over generations and centuries that have built to really, you know, carry out genocide and exploitation. Because that's
I'm glad you used the word genocide, because that's what it is. It's genocide, and right now it's a slow genocide. People don't even pretend.
Of those words. We shouldn't be afraid of those words. They were created for a reason. And I also understand, you know, what I understand as a person who is a PR, somebody who uses English language in her daily work, is that, you know, some groups are afforded language and some groups aren't. And when it comes to groups, Black people or people who are visible minorities, there's certain words that we're not allowed to use. And I'm well, it's exactly the same practice as what this word says, so that's what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. It hurts. We live it. We know how much it hurts, but let's not shy away from it. I think if we start confronting these things, then hopefully people will start to say, yeah, Black Lives Matter. And the fact that we've got people saying all lives matter, well, you know, there was this great kind of tweet I saw where an Asian man said, you know, you don't go up to cancer sufferers and say, what about my illness? My illness matters too. You know, there's a slight humanity that's missing with people who, you know, like to comment and think that, you know, when somebody's pain has to be morphed into everybody's pain. Because
I think that's the thing, like I always sort of say about, in general, just things that belong to Black people, it doesn't belong. We are like, I think we're a race that everyone insists that everything like that we have must be like shared. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, when we have, for instance, like an African Caribbean society, it's not allowed to be political because it has to cater to everybody. And whereas other societies, they can be political. They can raise funds, for, like, you know, like the Syrian society can raise funds for what's happening in Syria. The Jewish society can do that. But ours, it must be something that everyone can feel comfortable around. You know what I'm saying? And like anything that we have, it should be palatable to everybody else. All the time.
And I think, and you know, that's the whole ethos of I'm Possible, which is really about defining your own self, your own success, and your own identity without anybody else being involved in that. Because I don't understand why my identity always has to be in relation to, you know, like I cannot understand that. That's a madness to me. I mean, Lala, what do you think about, you know, how important it is for people of color, people who are visibly different from the people who have power and control, to sort of own their identity?
I think it's really important. I mean, other groups are afforded, you know, their own identity, meaning that they can actually, you know, go out there and tell people, this is who we are, this is where we came from, this is what we're about, you know, this is our beliefs, this is our culture. I mean, you know, other groups are allowed to do that, whereas we kind of have to like fall back and say, oh, this is what we are, but only if certain groups are happy with that. I mean, you know, it's always about other people's comfortability factor, and it's really where the other groups don't have to do that, but we always do that. We're always, you know, always thinking about how other people feel about how we present ourselves to them. You know, are we too threatening? Are we too aggressive? You know, does the way that we look, does it, you know, fall in line with their ideas of us? I mean, we're always having these conversations. I don't see other groups ever having these conversations. It's not even a thought, but we always think about it. We always have to take these steps to making sure that other people feel comfortable with how we are presented them.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I hear you. I guess, you know, I guess the consensus of what we're discussing is that we understand that there's a need for people to know the value in Black Lives Matter, but there's a little bit, we're a bit resentful that we have to take on that chalice and have to do that, have to prove our humanity to people. But I think what we're shown is that people are not ready to understand or accept that we're human too, and that's these problems. So I hear you. I get you, ladies. So moving on from Black Lives Matter, which will always matter, we have to start thinking about what's maybe a little closer to home. So we've got the British general election on Thursday. It's a very tight race, I believe. It's quite a predictable race in terms of their campaigning techniques. They've been rubbing lots of heads of black babies, haven't they? Going into
churches, nicer churches.
Pink bus for women. They've been doing really predictable and quite embarrassing things to try and win votes from places that they, in 365 days of the year, they don't bother to talk to. So let me know, guys, like, which way should women of colour vote in the British general elections this Thursday? Which way should they vote? Or should they even vote at all? What say you? What do you think, Lorraine?
I just feel like, I've been watching it and there isn't one thing that kind of, has appealed to me or speaks to me or includes me. But I don't know why I'm surprised, because it is like this every single time. So, there isn't one group that I can honestly say, do you know what? They're I can see that they're looking out for my well-being, or people that look like me, people that have the issues that I have. I've not heard anything about that, not one time. So I'm really I'm just so over it. I really am. It's just same shit, different day. Sorry. Yeah, pretty much. It sounds really, I hate speaking about it in that kind of sense, because I'm always the sort of person that will be like, well, if you're not going to vote, then you really don't have the right to complain. But at this stage in the game, looking at their policies and looking at what they're about, I really don't feel compelled to stand behind any of these parties, to be quite honest with you.
I hear you. Siana, how's it for you? Is it a little bit more hopeful, or you kind of think off the point?
I so hear you, Lala. I hear you, and I definitely hear you. But this particular election, I've been very active. Actually, I've been on a lot of panels. I've done some TV stuff. I've been very much campaigning, not particularly for a party, more for policy and more for youth engagement. So just this week gone, actually, I was on a panel with Sadiq Khan and a few other Labour MPs, basically just talking about how it was more like a case of saying, at the end of the day, you actually have to listen to the youth vote, because this country only cares about old people. They only care about the silver vote. That's for starters. Obviously, old white people as well. But at the end of the day,
and married people, they don't care about.
Oh, and married. Yeah, exactly. However, anyway, we ethnic minorities, who are actually the global majority, regardless, we're here. Okay, and regardless, we're young people, we're here. So our votes do matter. And at the end of the day, we've got to, I get you and I understand, I used to be in the camp that was if you don't vote, don't complain. You still have a right to complain, and even if you didn't register, those people, still need to cater to you. But the problem is, I think some people think once they've voted, that's all that's needed. But we really need to, I don't like the British system at the moment, but it is what it is. So I'll vote for the least worst creature, and at the same time I'm doing my grassroots work. So with No Fly on the Wall, we do a lot of workshops, we go in the community, we get black people together, we get people talking about, you know, intersectional feminism. And we ran a brunch time event I think in March, and it was for black women, and it was to talk about the policies and stuff, and just to talk about who's got our backs, you know. And we concluded that no one really has our backs. Even the Greens, they tried it with their like video of the black woman and all that kind of stuff. But usually, as Lala said, no one cares until it's election time. And I made that clear to Sadiq Khan. I said, why don't you lot come round, yeah, and take an interest in us the other times in the year, yeah? Like, you know, and they didn't really have an answer. But at the end of the day, I still advocate going to vote, because it's a start. You know, you go to vote, and you never know, like, what can happen. I'm a bit more hopeful than I was at the start, kind of thing, because I've been active in, like, hopefully getting people engaged. You've got to vote. I just found out the other day that it was leaked that the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives want to raise tuition fees again now to 11,500, yeah? And I know people who are angry now who want to now vote, but they didn't register. And it's like, even though you don't believe in the system, but it is the system, so you've got to do what you can with that system, but also go out there and write your own narrative, you know?
But, you know, for me, it's like, okay, so I voted, and I do advocate voting, but I totally understand when people feel like, what?
Yeah.
But the thing is that, what about the people, all of us who voted last time, and we got a government no one voted for?
I voted last time. I used my very first vote on this condemned government, because I believe the Liberal Democrats had my interest at heart, and they didn't. Not at all.
Do you know what? I was just going to mention that. I feel like I'm still reeling off of that the last election, when what I saw was just the biggest travesty of government that I can remember. I'm like, you have two parties who are polar opposites actually forming an alliance. It's like, and everything that Lib Dems I'm talking about, everything that they represented, you went totally against it the minute you thought that you could get your foot into number 10. And I'm like, I can't even look at you ever again as a party that would represent me, or even take you seriously on any of your policies, because the minute somebody dangled a carrot in front of your face, you were off. You forgot about all those students that you were supposed to represent. I mean, we had, God knows how many, we had 2 riots in the same kind of like the same year. One of them obviously with the students.
2011.
With Mark Duggan. Like all of those first. Yeah, all of those things kicked off because of, I feel
people
like,
are angry.
Yeah, as a result of that. And it's like, for you to turn around and then tell people, have the barefaced cheek to ask people to vote for you again after you did that, I'm sorry, but that says a lot about your party and a lot about you and who you represent. So this time around, I'm just like, you are all the same. I just feel like you are all in cahoots with one another.
No, I hear you. I mean, this is why I think people get
you've got your hand in them.
Oh, sorry.
Honestly, I feel that strongly about it because of that kind of, you know, that episode right there. It's going to take me a while to kind of, you know, get back into the saddle of thinking, you know what, maybe this, I've never completely been 100% like, okay, I've always been like, okay, maybe this might be it, maybe let's see, and, you know, but right now I'm just like, you know what, forget all of them, because the last election, you lot all really showed your faces as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just not here for any of it.
I hear you. I think for me though, I don't know, I guess I'm a bit of an anarchist, but I'm like, crush the system, let's start a new one.
I agree. Can we start a new system, ladies? They're starting a women's party soon, you know. In 2020, there's going to be a party, and it's a women's party, and like my friend Nimco Ali is one of the women in it. So you can actually start your own party for £500. Let's do it.
Let's talk about that, because I saw that party, and you see, this is the thing, and this is the problem, and this is why I started I'm Possible, because there's so many people who sort of do stuff and they say it's for all women, but I only see a really certain definite type of women. Now, women are half of the population of this earth. So whenever you do something for women, it has to look really diverse, really diverse. It cannot look like one type of woman, i.e. just white women or just middle class women, because then that means what you're doing is only catering for those women. So when I looked at the makeup of the picture of that party, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And how's my voice going to be represented here? And when I looked at their manifesto, at the top, was equal pay and boardroom access, right? Now, I have huge issues with these two narratives because they're usually held by a certain class of women and usually a certain race of women within the women equality movement, and they're forgetting all other issues that women as a whole have. I think violence and sexual violence against women is a really big issue. I don't think there's one issue that's like, oh, you know, it's not the oppression Olympics. I'm not saying that someone has, oh, my oppression's worse than yours. But you know what? When we start talking about equal pay, I think I'm more interested in the kind of wage gap between white women and black women and Asian women. I think if we actually just close that gap, then I think there'll be a lot more hardworking women who'd be able to eat. And I think we wouldn't be the working poor. We wouldn't be taking loans out just to pay rent and other things like that. We wouldn't be working 3 or 4 jobs, which is where a lot of women of color get trapped. So I'm interested in that because I'd rather alleviate that real ridiculous nature thing of having to, you're working, but you still can't afford to live. That's working for. I want to alleviate that. And then we can start thinking about equal pay against our male peers. Because to be frank, all I hear when I hear women say, oh, equal pay is that, oh, I just want more money so I don't need to have to ask my husband for more. That's what it translates to me. And to be frank, I think there's bigger cookies to fry right now. Or we have like a multi-pronged effort on the things all women want to address. Equal pay is one, but you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who don't even do the job.
Equal, I think the multi-prong thing is that, isn't it? Because I would still argue that, yeah, for me, like, I'm not happy if I'm, and, you know, I think being paid the same as your male peers is important too, but at the same time, you're so right about this wage gap. There are stats and there are studies about that, how, like, white women usually get paid way more than, like, black women, and even Asian women get paid more than us, do you know what I mean? So we got to look at the intersection.
Why not talk about that gap?
Because they want to, you know, like, that's the thing. It's very useful for certain women to ignore the intersections, which is why I'm always banging on about intersectional feminism. To me, feminism is not useful to anybody if it's not with intersectional lens, because if you are going to exclude trans women, then your feminism isn't for all women. If you're going to exclude women of color, your feminism isn't for all women. Do you know what I mean? Your feminism is very much part of a patriarchal system, and that's no good to anybody apart from certain type of women, you know?
Exactly, and that's the point, and that's why I'm possible is really important. That's why no fly on the wall is really important, because if we don't start creating these places for ourselves to have our own voices heard, even if those voices are only heard by us, because sometimes we just need to do the work for us. And
because a lot of us still need our conscious levels raising, like no shade or anything, but a lot of us need to decolonize our minds. As simple as that. We've got a lot of unlearning to do. Like, even when you think you've gotten so far, then you'll see a comment on Facebook or you'll have a conversation. It just reminds you that there's so much work to do still. When there are black people saying we shouldn't be talking about certain things, when there are black men saying that, you know, you shouldn't be talking about feminism because it's a white woman thing. No, it's not. Like, at all. Feminism started in Africa.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's funny that, so yeah, you're right, we can start up our own political group. I would be so interested if there was like a woman of color political party. I think that would be amazing, but I also see how kind of problematic it would be, because women of color is a huge term which encompasses many women, and so then again you've got those competing priorities as to what's really the biggest thing we should be thinking of, XYZ. And you know, I think there's a lot of us out there as women of color who think that, you know, racism actually impinges us more than sexism does, and there's some women that think sexism, you know, and so what are you going to do? You know, it's like we're constantly being told to choose as women of color. Or choose.
You can't choose though. You can't. Audre Lorde said, you know, we don't live single issue lives, because I don't come to you
how can you choose that they affect us all?
Right.
Exactly.
This is it. And
my depression is different from a black man, same as it's different from a white woman. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Well, I think, you know, in terms of like voting, I think our kind of consensus was like the system's mad. We encourage people to vote. Miss Lala's like, big up.
Like, fed up.
I am. I'm over it.
Are you actually registered though, Lala? Because maybe you'll change your mind on Thursday. Okay, that's a
I
good
might
thing at
do.
least. I'm
Who
hopeful
knows?
for those ones who
I
are
have
at
actually
least registered.
registered.
Yeah.
Good.
And I
I'm
have
hopeful.
to say, as young as we all look, me and Lala, we're probably in the same age group, a little bit older than each other. So we've seen these things a little bit more. So I think that's where
Yeah,
empathy comes from. Because, like, as I'm saying,
definitely.
like, for me, the way this is all playing out reminds me of the 80s and, like, all the
Mm.
narrative. Like, if you took the Sun newspaper from the
Mm.
1980s to 2015, the narrative
Yeah.
Damn.
headlines have not changed. Nothing's
Yeah.
changed. Immigrants are coming to kill you in your bed. They're coming to take your jobs. Oh my God. Immigrants. Ah.
Yeah.
Bigger. Like, really? Like, you still scared. You still scared. You
Well,
know?
when you have a publication that way to hire the likes of Katie Hopkins to
Oh,
write, inflammatory articles
Nazi language
on
she used.
migrants. Yeah, exactly. Is it any surprise? You're right, Simone. It's just like the 90s. We haven't moved forward at
Nothing's
all.
changed. Nothing's changed. The institutions haven't changed. They may stick a black person or a mixed race person in an advert, but that doesn't mean equality. Equality, you have to do the work. Equality is about affecting all stratas of life. That doesn't mean you have pockets of whiteness that is protected and then the black people are allowed to eat and work. That's not equality. And that's what some people think it is, and I think it's really important that, I mean, to be frank, I don't think I even have the understanding of full equality in my head because, I present as a heterosexual, single, black, female woman. Brought up as a Christian. Right now I'm more spiritual than anything, so that's got some dimensions to my outlook into life. But then there's a woman who might be a Muslim, who is X, who is this, who is that, and I can't speak for her. So I think we just need to have a place where we can all just be, you know what I mean, and just respect them.
Exactly, just be, because that's another thing, I think we black people and like we people on the intersection are never allowed to just be, because it's actually not every day that you want to like intellectualize everything. It's not every day you want to argue. Some days you want to just go to a party and be at that party. You want to just go to the ball and be at the ball in your nice dress. You want to just go to just want to go and be. You don't want to have to argue and fight about everything, but you have to fight just to be,
I know exactly what you mean. And it's something I think I've even said before, Miss Lala, that I've said that, I don't even realize I'm black until I leave my house.
Yes.
Like, I don't wake up thinking, oh my God, I'm black. And because I'm black, this is going to happen to me. I wake up, I'm going to get in the shower, I got to brush.
I'm Simone, you know what I mean?
And then I come out of my house, and then a certain situation approaches me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm black.
And then you remember.
But also, it's about turning on your TV too, because I was saying, like, even if you stayed indoors for the rest of your life, you'll still be attacked, because the radio reminds you of your otherness, the TV reminds you of your otherness. It's everywhere, like absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But I think I'm learning about self-preservation and self-care, and I dip in and out of that. And I think it's something that, younger generations will also do well to do. But I understand why they're so switched on and they're so connected. You guys have been brought up with being so connected, but there is a problem with that, because what the media is just transmitting all the old values. And so you're kind of just ingesting all of that and thinking all the things they do. Unless you're a critical. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Even critical thinkers get sucked in, though.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're completely right. Okay, so let's go on to our third question. And this is about basically people that we know, well-known people, celebrities, politicians, whoever. Because of the fight, Mayweather and Pacquiao, should we separate the personal lives from the professional lives of celebrity sports people and those in the spotlight? And this is where I saw a lot of people on my timeline saying that they refused to watch the fight because they didn't want to support a woman beater. They didn't want to support he fights chickens, doesn't he? Pacquiao fights chickens. They also cheated on his wife, I think. They didn't want to support men that in their personal lives were not leading, I guess, a morally guided life, right? And so I wanted to kind of unpack that with you. I wanted to see what you think about how in this day and age, with the celebrities and the things we know they do, and sometimes the things we don't do, how can we consume media and have an enjoyment such as sports and entertainment that doesn't conflict with our moral codes? How do we do that, or can we not do it? Do we just have to live like a hermit? Siana, what do you think?
This is a question, Sim, I literally was thinking about this just the other day, all week in fact, and I was having this conversation with my boyfriend and being like, you know what, why did you watch the May? Because I didn't know too much about Mayweather's background until I read stuff afterwards, and I was like, the way you wanted to watch that fight, but he picks on people who aren't his size, you know. It's really hard. Like, I think Roxane Gay, she wrote about it in Bad Feminist, and it's such a good book. Like, for me, I've always had this crisis, literally, of like the fact I listen to certain music here that uses words that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really not here for, and describes women in a certain way. But when the tune is popping, I'm dancing. I'm like, stop dancing to this. What are you doing? It's not with your moral code. But it's hard. I don't know, because for me, I think with sports, I actually do particularly think sportsmen get away with a lot. Because even, for instance, I was saying to my boyfriend about Chris Brown. I know that people are consuming his stuff again, but people still throw shade about what he did in 2009 to Rihanna. Okay. And I think less people like hold sports people in particular accountable for their actions. You know, there's always an excuse kind of thing. And I don't know. I think maybe there's a spectrum, because nobody's perfect, that's for sure. And I think all of us are problematic. But I think it's important to learn to kind of keep the person separate from the art. But I don't know, actually, because just as the personal is quite political, I almost feel people's art, you know, they're giving us in that. So I'm really undecided. I think for sports, as I'm not a big sports fan, easy for me not to watch that stuff. If I hear you're a woman beater, I'm over you, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm not going to whatever. But when it comes to things I'm more bothered about, I don't know, it gets very difficult.
You know, I hear you. I mean, there's been many a time that I'm in a club and I'm dancing my heart out.
And then, like, why am I dancing to this?
I catch the lyrics and I'm like, what are you doing? And it's so annoying because I love the beat of the song. I love the beat of the song. And I'm like, you really are telling me these hoes? Really?
Oh my God, that one. Seriously, exactly, for real.
Like, you know, Lorraine, what do you think? Are you conflicted?
Do you know what's funny? Right now on TV, they're showing Empire, and they're showing the episode where the young boy's singing that drippity drop song. And it's just wrong on all levels, but I love it. I can't stop singing it. But I feel like this, like I've got to the stage where, you know, I find that with celebrities and sports personalities, anyone in the public eye, I now have to separate them from their personal lives, because if you start kind of putting them all together, you're just going to be real disappointed by, you know, by any personal stuff that you feel like, oh no, why are they doing this, or why are they like that? You're going to be disappointed every single time, because they're bound to do something that is so way off your moral code. You're just not going to like them. I think what I kind of did, for me, take for instance the Floyd Mayweather thing. Now for me, Floyd Mayweather is someone that I can't get, I just can't support in any which way, shape or form. Only because the way that he reacts to certain things, it's like he has no remorse for anything that he does. If I feel that somebody who does something, we can all do something wrong, but it's about kind of dealing with it afterwards. It's like, what kind of steps have you taken in order to make sure that A, you've learned from what you did, that you're actually sorry for what you did. You know, I need to feel that kind of genuine, you know what, I messed up, I put my hands up, and I'm trying to correct that. I'm trying to, you know, stop all of that and making sure that it doesn't happen again. I don't get that sense from him. And so because of that, you know, I'm just like, I'm not involved. I didn't even watch the fight because I just had no interest in it, in him at all. What was funny, I don't know if you guys have seen that footage of this Jamaican lady that was speaking to Floyd while he was here in the UK, and I just find it so funny. It's hilarious. Basically, what she's saying to him is that she don't know who he is, and you can see from the look on his face, like me. Like how that, like he looks so offended, but it's like it's like in his brain he couldn't fathom the fact that this woman doesn't know him, and it's like, how can you not fathom that?
Self-importance.
Yeah, that somebody doesn't actually know you, and it's things like that that make me think I can't deal with you because you don't even have the brain power to even understand that maybe there are a couple of people on this planet that don't know who you are, and guess what? That's okay. It's not going to affect you or your life in any which shape or form.
Or your millions, for real.
Exactly. Why do you care? He was really like, you know, you should read Forbes magazine, and you should Google me. You should do this.
But the thing is, he's asking people to read, and he can't read. You don't.
Right. Okay. So it's things like that makes me feel like you haven't learned from any previous nonsense that you've done how to humble yourself. And I get it. I get he's a boxer, and I get it's supposed to be all about ego and everything. But that's not endearing me to you, and that's why people, when they compare you to Muhammad Ali, of course, Muhammad Ali was no angel, but at the same time, it's like, you know, he had a better moral compass that more or less falls in line.
He's a civil rights hero as well, though.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Even things like that. I think he gave an interview just the other day where he had the barefaced cheek to compare himself to Muhammad Ali and actually say that, you know, I think the presenter was saying to him more or less, you know, do you think that you've gone through the same things as Muhammad Ali? And he was like, yes, I've gone through exactly the same things in terms of racism. And it's like, and the guy was trying to say to him, well, you know, it is a different time now. You know, we're not living in the civil rights era. We're not having dogs set on us. We're not having, you know, hose pipes in the way that they did. You know, obviously we've still got issues now in 2015, but you can't compare it to what, you know, Muhammad Ali went through and people of that time actually went through. But in his head,
he paved the way for Mayweather, you know.
Right, exactly. In his head, he strongly believes, you know, that they go through the exact same thing, and he can't. There's no line for him. He's just like, yeah, we go through the same. We're a boxer, and I've gone through racism, so I've suffered in the same. It's just it boggles the mind. So I can't with him. So that's how I kind of, you know, deal with my celebrities and people in the public eye. I just have to separate the two. Otherwise, I'm just gonna end up hating all of them.
Do you know, this question though, it also links to this whole idea of like putting these people on a pedestal, you know, because I'm always having discussion about, you know, when it's like black celebrities, and how we know that many of them, apart from like John Legend, I love him, but most, and even Azealia, do you know what I mean, but most of them do not speak out when it comes to speaking out. They'll take our money and take everything we're consuming, like, sorry, they'll happy for us to consume, but they won't speak out because they're worried about money and they're worried about their white audiences when we're being murdered on the streets. And then it's kind of like, I always have a discussion with myself, like, yeah, but why do I expect them to do anything different, you know? But I guess it's because you think they're human, they're supposed to be part of our community regardless. But it's not, I mean, for me, it's never that I want them to speak for me. I can speak for myself, but at the end of the day, I don't have like 24 million gazillion K, like whatever followers, you know? And whatever happens at the end of the day, these people have gained power and people do listen to them. And I do think, like, you know, there's a responsibility that comes with that. Not necessarily being a role model, but it's a responsibility. But yeah, it's just a question of like, how much do we invest in them in the first place to worry too much about their moral code and whether they speak for us or whether they have our backs, you know?
You know, there's this whole sociological theory called the burden of responsibility, particularly that's for people of colour when they get into places of
and it's not asked of white people, it's true. It's not asked of the state of other people.
And it's because so little of us get through. It's because so little of us have access to those kind of platforms that when you get there is an expectation on you. And you know what? There is a part of me that kind of thinks, yes, there should be. I don't think there should be power without responsibility. If you're making money off of your talent, and which largely is part of your experience as a black person, right? So the rap is born out of struggle. R&B, rhythm and blues, R&B, soul music, born out of our black experience. So you're making money off of this experience of yourself and the generations and the blood that runs through your veins. But yet, when there's an issue with this community that has given you this grand heritage, now, yes, I can't expect you to do anything. I shouldn't have expectations of you. But what I don't expect you to do is to jump on social issues to sell me stuff, i.e. Tidal, i.e. Kanye and all the rest of it. Don't be jumping on real social issues that we need someone to take us forward in. Someone who actually has the kind of money and the relationships that you have that could really...
And it shows they can actually get together and do something very effective if they want to, you know?
If they want to. So that's fine that you don't want to, but don't be telling me that you're trying to help me. Because let's not do that. Because then now you're taking me for a fool, and I'm not going to pay for that either, you know. And so okay, you don't want to speak on these issues, but don't start saying that. Oh, we're doing this because it's a revolution. We're doing this. No, this is not revolution. It's a business model that you're operating in, and you want more money from that business model, and that's not bad. But please do not dress it up.
Call it what it is.
It's interesting. It's things like that where, you know, you want to use words like you're not ready for a revolution, because revolutionaries, like they don't have the true ones. They don't have any money. They're not driven by money. This is why, and it's fine if that's what you choose to be, but don't try and pull. We're not stupid out here. We know what's going on. You know, it's just, just stop it, please.
I mean, it's like even when Jay-Z came out and started tweeting, "Here comes a stream of consciousness." I was like, how do you use that word?
For music.
That word with you just spouting out stuff that you should have done in your.
I was laughing, you know, Sim and Lala, because you know, okay, I love Riri, but you know, she put out American Oxygen, yeah. This apparently very socially conscious music, like song, yeah. But it was only available on Tidal for a while.
Pushing everything through there.
This song that's meant to be about the civil rights struggle and about, you know, Ferguson. It's only available on Tidal, and I was like, okay, Riri, I see you. It's very interesting.
It's funny. Sorry to interrupt. I was just thinking as well. You know, a couple of months back when Kanye had his flipping nervous breakdown on several interviews that he did, just all of them. You pick one, whichever one that you want, and. He was the one kind of always talking about, you know, we're going to revolutionize this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And I always thought, you know, with things like Tidal, again, I'm not upset with Tidal. I get, you know, that these artists, they are being bumped off, you know.
Yeah.
However, if you really, really, really want to start a revolution, why not start with trying to change the law and legislation as to how music is actually dealt with? Why don't you try and get that district rather than going to the consumer, namely us, and saying, this is another means for you guys to pay money. It's like, we pay into you. It's like, okay, we get free music, but we pay to go to your concerts, we pay to support, we pay for stuff for you to live the very lavish lives that you live.
Free promotion for you.
Exactly.
Instagram,
we do that. Facebook, all the time.
Yeah.
This is you're talking to a blogger. You're talking to a blogger, and somebody whose Instagram page is full of, you know, all these creative things that they create. So I'm a supporter of the creatives. I am a supporter of, you know, people being paid for their work. But at the same time, don't be using words like revolution, because if you're going to do that, then I expect you to go to Washington DC and try and get some sort of legislation passed where you aim at these big corporations who are mugging you off for your money, rather than coming at us and saying, once again, you're going to have to pay. No, go to the people
who are mugging you off.
So that kind of change. That's when you've changed. Yeah, you've changed everything now once you aim at the corporations and actually make them, you know, give you the money entitled to. That's revolution right there.
I mean, you made such an important point. It's so true. I think it's too easy to come to the consumer, you know? It's easy to come to us because, I didn't think, we're the little guys. We're the little guys. So regardless, you know what? We're not actually going to boycott Rihanna or Beyonce or Jay-Z. We're actually not. We're going to still like their music. Regardless, we're going to still, if we don't go on Tidal, we'll still wait loyally and then go to the concert, and regardless, you know? But that, like you said, that's what they need to do. Go to the corporates. Go to the white men at the top and deal with them. But such is life, right? We, you know, in terms of, it makes things like colorism, right? Yeah. Instead of us, you know, really trying to deal with the real problem, which is white supremacy, we decide that we're going to fight at the bottom, because seeing as we can't reach the top, we'll fight at the bottom, and we'll say, well, we're all at the bottom, but let me be top of the rung at the bottom. See what I'm saying? We always go to what's easier because it's hard to actually have a revolution.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, when you have that money, that access to wealth and that, you know, I don't think it would take Jay-Z and Kanye much to talk to some of the black scholars we're out there and say, listen, this is what is happening. Tell me what kind of messages maybe I could put out there. Tell me maybe what meetings that they could be doing this work. They could be that I don't know about. But for me, it's like, if I had that access, I would reach out to the Cornell West, the state safety pattern. I'd say to them, look, could you educate me in what I should be saying, how I should be talking when I go onto these platforms about these issues? What is, you know, and then I'll make my own mind up if I want to do that. But I don't see any of the stars doing this, and maybe I'm not privy to it. Maybe they do.
John Legend does it. John Legend is real. John Legend is real, and I'm a little
bit salty with John Legend, and particularly
because
of what they did to Ladisi. You don't run on Ladisi like that. I'm sorry. That was messed up. That's okay. That girl is an amazing talent, and anyway, that's a whole new story. But that girl's a talent, and I thought it was particularly disrespectful that they didn't let her sing at the Grammys and gave that spot to Beyonce. I think if Beyonce was a feminist, she says she would have done a duet. Or she wouldn't have done it at all. She would have let Lizzie have that mark. But that's another conversation for another.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. But we've got one more question, but I'm going to throw in a little curveball because I just think this is one of the weirdest things that happened in the last couple of weeks, right? Madonna kissing Drake.
Oh, Lord. Right.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, right?
Lala, stop it.
Sorry.
No, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I really want to do the work myself around why I feel the way I feel about what happened. Is it ageism? Am I being ageist? Am I being like, sit down, Madonna, it's over. Like, I don't want to be seeing this, your flange. I just don't want to see it anymore, right? And then I'm thinking, okay, is it another dynamic? Because Madonna has a history in the way that she uses black culture and particularly black men. That's
what my problem is.
That's giggling at me? Or is it just, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I'm just getting older now, so those kind of things just, I'm like, please, are you still doing this? You were doing this from the 80s. 30 years on, and we're still seeing you do this stuff. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, because she's still talking about it, that's one thing. And she's saying that she kissed the girl, who is Drake, and she likes it. And she's still kissing him. And I don't know. I think that this is this is really signposting to her fragility around her identity and what she's associating to her success. And I'm thinking, Madonna, you've got all the money in the world. Like, does this really matter? But what do you girls think? Do you think it's, especially women's reactions to her, do you think it's ageism? Do you think what do you think? What do you think?
Oh dear, I just feel like it screams desperation. Like, before, like, Madonna's obviously, she's been known for kind of, just being really good at playing the music game, the music business, and kind of changing up her style and just adapting adopting other, kind of cultures that she kind of rides quite well. She brings them to the mainstream pop market, and she's been really good at that and successful at it for God knows how long. And I feel like we're in a different time now. We're in a new age of the internet, and the way that people consume music is totally different. So maybe she's finding it difficult to kind of fit herself in there. I mean, you've got the likes of Beyonce, Rihanna, Lady Gaga. I mean, it's very much their world, even like Katy Perry. And it's interesting that she's almost trying to align herself with them, whereas back in the day it would be a thing where people were really trying to work with Madonna, trying to align themselves with her, but she's having to kind of like do the running after people.
Nicki as well.
Nicki Minaj. Yeah, so these, even Kanye West, like a whole bunch of them. So this little, incident that she had with Drake, it just seems just just overly rehearsed and really just desperate to me. Like, I don't think Drake knew about it, clearly from his reaction, he didn't know. But I feel like in her head, she's like, yeah, I'm going to bring that boy up on stage and I'm going to tongue him down. The world's going to love me because this is what I've done before with Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and a host of others. But she was at least, 10, 15 years younger at that time when she did it. Now people kind of view Madonna in a very different way. Like, people have been... Yeah, she does suffer from a lot of ageism, but that is the business that she's in. She's in the music business. It's a very young business where people, like, as soon as you're over the age of 25, they're already telling you that you're old, and she knows this more than anybody. So she's either going to ride it out and continue to do what she's doing and just accept it and just ignore all the people that are, talking about her, or she's going to continue to get real salty about it and do little kind of videos talking about, I kissed a girl and I liked it and it was Drake and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Drake was actually defending her after everybody was cussing her out and making all of those memes, and then she went and did that, and that was really bizarre to me. So I don't know, maybe she felt like Drake didn't defend her as much as she probably would have liked, which is interesting. I don't know.
Does she need like
she doesn't.
Ooh, sound.
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, I think we got stuck there.
This song.
You back?
I think the Madonna army did something to your connection.
The Madonna army have come for her.
Seriously.
Lala, have you survived?
She's coming
Yes.
to kiss you.
Sorry, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh God, no.
Madonna came for you.
I don't
yeah, powerful.
I don't really like to taste dust, so no, I won't be having that.
Oh Lord.
Yes. No. She just no. I am a Madonna fan. I'm not even gonna lie, but these last antics that she's been doing, she just needs to let it go.
Yeah, I see it. Siana, what do you think? Ageism, sexism?
Nah, for me, I'm not. You know, yeah, she does suffer a lot of ageism, but I think, and I'm not defending that. I think it's disgusting, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think what I hate about Madonna, and I'm writing an article, and it's just getting longer and longer, and it's called "We Need to Talk About Madonna" because I'm really tired of her antics. We need to talk about Madonna, yeah, for real, because she's obsessed with objectifying blackness, obsessed with objectifying black men. She is always comparing ageism to racism. Like, are you okay? She's always comparing ageism to racism, particularly. She's always like, you wouldn't call a black person this, and she's got a black son. So I'm always wondering what goes on.
Yeah, do you remember when she actually
she called one of them an N-word,
her white son the N-word? So it's like, what, Madonna? You're calling the white one the N-word. What the hell are you calling the black? So things like that. I'm like, you're so mean.
That's what I'm saying about her.
She's destroying her legacy.
Really problematic. She's problematic. I'm really tired of her, and I think she's very much thirsty. Like, she's very thirsty for attention, and it's like, you're actually like a legend, Madonna, and we all know you don't need to move away from the water, move away from the lake, move away from the pond. Don't be so thirsty. Like, stop it, for real.
I mean, so I only realised how problematic she was when I read about
problematic.
Bell Hooks's, you know, she's done some
on a lot of people,
Madonna, and how she uses black men and black culture. And black,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she does it.
Tupac, all of them. She's kind of. You know,
she's obsessed with black men. And also, on a different note, with the Drake thing, yeah, look how, I think we all need to look at ourselves, because look how everyone was laughing at Drake, yeah. But the thing is, if it was a man of that age and a young woman of Drake's age, yeah, who like forced himself on her, even as a joke, whatever, like, you can imagine the narrative would be so different, no matter what race or anything like that. So, you know, I mean, you have to always think about that. Like, we always have, you know, even we, I don't know, women who advocate certain things, like, we have a different kind of reaction for certain behaviours, and I just think we need to talk about Madonna because I'm tired of her.
I feel like he was violated, because it didn't.
I think he was violated. He was, because he actually, not even as a joke, like, he looked so shocked that she would throw herself on him like that. You know, she put her tongue all the way down his throat, all the way down his throat.
This is Drake's fault as far as I'm concerned, because his reaction afterwards is the reason why everybody was like, "Oh my God, poor Drake."
He couldn't even hide it. That's why.
He must be like, "Oh."
He couldn't even. And in the audience, you've got Rihanna there. He's used to kissing Rihanna, and then now you've got Madonna on you like that.
I know.
It's crazy. Rihanna ain't
going back there anymore.
I know. I mean, you know, it was a curveball question that I put in there, because I'm really trying to think about why I feel the way I do about Madonna. Is it ageism? Is it that the way that she uses blackness, black men, and stuff like that? What is it? It's really jarring me about her.
Black people, yeah.
I just think she's pathetic, unfortunately. And this is coming from a Madonna fan. You could not tell me nothing. Desperately Seeking Susan. I have a leather jacket in there that I still wear because I channel her like. I loved 80s Madonna, so it was, you know, it's a shame that it's turned into, oh God, could you put your knickers on, please, love? Because that's how it feels like now. It feels like I have to tell her to put her clothes on, but what is that? Am I policing her? Why am I?
I don't know about the clothes thing. I don't. For me, I'm quite used to Madonna Roman anyhow, so.
I don't think it though.
Bothered about that at all.
Appetizing. I don't think she looks.
No, but
you know,
like, there are older women who look real, like they look fire, you know, still, and they're wearing anyhow. So it's not about like policing what she's wearing or whatever. It's for me, it's her obsession with blackness and the way she treats black men. I don't like it. Also because we laugh it off because she's a woman. Yeah. And she, I don't know. I think she's got so much privilege. Like she's one of those people who just have like this white supremacy complex, in my opinion, to be honest. She can go around and do what she likes and then comparing ageism to racism. Like, stop it.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so our last question, but certainly not least, and this is really now about bringing it back to how we take care of ourselves. So as we're in the throes of spring, and I'm loving it, what do you guys do to give your mind, body and soul like a seasonal spring clean? What do you do to kind of get back to basics and take care of yourself? Miss Lala, what do you think?
Me, I just try my best to hit the gym, eat clean. That's the only thing that kind of works for me. I feel like in the spring and summertime, it's a lot easier because, you know, first thing in the morning, the sun is out. It actually kind of prompts you to get up and kind of like start your day in a good way, rather than, you know, when it's the dead of winter and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, it still looks like it's 3 a.m. and you like curl up and go back to bed. So for me, I really love, you know, I love when spring comes around. It just makes me think a little bit more clearer about my health and how I want to start the day and how I want to progress in the coming months. So yeah, so I just, you know, try and eat well and exercise, drink lots of water, and that's me, man.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Siana, what about you?
In all honesty, I'm not very good at self-care. Like, and it's a problem I recognize and I'm trying to work on. I'm not good at it. I do too much, and I do the most. But you know, I don't know. Like, you know, exercise is really important, and because of my, I mean, I'm changing my lifestyle hopefully, but I do want to exercise a lot more. And I think in terms of what, it's a point you made a lot earlier, Sim, about just removing yourself from like social media and stuff, because I've got like quite a strong social media presence, and I'm always on there and always taking in trauma and debating and whatnot kind of thing, and doing. So sometimes I think like switching off, I'm trying to learn to like switch off and just read. And I write, I'm a spoken word artist as well, actually, so I actually do write a lot. So for me, writing is definitely like my solace. Even if I'm writing about trauma and stuff, at least I'm away and I'm writing. So I think I'd like to write outdoors a bit more. And, you know, I like drinking herbal tea, stuff like that. But also good conversations with good people, you know, really important too. Get out of there, get that vitamin D. So, yeah, I'm not very good at self-care, but I'm learning, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely, honestly, if there's any gifts I can give you with the few years I have ahead of you, only a few, I tell you.
Only a few.
Definitely self-care, switching off, and just taking a beat. Just being like, you know what, today I'm sleeping in this bed, I'm going to get up, I'm giving myself a facial, I'm going to do a pedicure, like literally things that I enjoy that no one has to be a part of.
That's
it's really important. And if you can designate at least once a month, I mean, you really should be doing it once a week. But if you could do once a month, just for you, so you can ground yourself, because as you said, you're on social media and there's a lot of trauma out there. And
that's the word, trauma, A lot
of the time people are reflecting that on you and they want you to take it on. And, you know, lots of times I'm like, no, I'm not taking that on because you're mad. That's your madness. You deal with it. Because I've got my own stuff I've got to deal with. So I'm not going to be taking on other people's stuff, but is there a way of dealing with it by just shifting it to other people? So just be careful with that, because I do know exactly how that feels. And I know I'm a person that likes to be busy. I do 3 things at a time.
I don't know what to do when I've not got anything to do. Like, even if I have something, if I'm like, I don't have anything to do, I'll like still, I can always be doing something, a no fly on the wall, or getting, you know, doing some poetry or whatever kind of thing. So yeah, switching off is not something I'm very good at, but my mum always tells me like I need to learn to do it, and I'm trying. Like yesterday, bank holiday, I just was chilling, you know.
Because you know they say black don't crack, but it does when you're stressed.
It does crack. It does when trauma on the inside.
Start getting into the place where you can really just internally get that peace, and you'll see that you age so much slower. Seriously. It's something I can say. It can crack. It can crack.
You look good, girl.
High five.
High five.
All the oil, shea butter, coconut oil, all of it. Get it on the skin. Just put it on.
But seriously, water as well. Like, I do love herbal tea. Like, water's really good for you, and it's just, it actually, you have to channel your minds to like know to drink a lot of it. But once you do, then you're good. But yeah, I think our generation is true. We're like by default so switched on. So we have to, I think generation before had to like learn to switch on in terms of digitally. We've had to learn to switch off digitally.
You're completely right, definitely. So I don't know, Miss Lala looks like
she's gone.
She looks like she's gone. But this was the last question anyway. Siana, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's been good. I always like to have different varying voices from wherever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, we all haven't got the answers, and I think sometimes when we talk, we can actually find out new ways of thinking. And if we're obviously trying to go forward and develop, we need those new ways to help us sort of grow and stuff like that. So thank you, Siana. Tell us where people can find you. What's your website address and stuff?
Yeah, so even though, you know, as I'm not switching off, do feel free to hit me up. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram and things like that using SIANAARRGH, Siana. And you can also visit noflyeronthewall.com or don'tgotheresiana.com. And either way, you will always catch me on the Twitter sphere, on social media, online somewhere.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. And Miss Lala is Miss Lala Report UK.com. Please check her out. I'm Possible, you know where we are, I-am-possible.com. Our next event is our 4th anniversary on June 9th. 4 years we've been celebrating women of colour.
Congratulations, Sim.
Thank you, man. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, but it's been such a blessing to be a vessel that can do this work on this globe and just sort of make sure that we get celebrated and saluted in the right way, and we share in a positive way as well. So
absolutely.
4 years strong. It's a blessing. So it's coming up.
Sim, can I also just say to people that we'll be putting out the info soon, but like, you know, the Academy, we run events, and on May the 16th we've got an event called, it's a brunch, and it's called, you know, Black Women and the Body, and my friend Kelechi will be taking it, and it's gonna be so good. So everything from like why, you know, Black women's diets are different to everyone else's, and how that obviously makes our bodies different, and how that's then, you know, the media sexualizes us and all that kind of stuff. It's just gonna be really interesting. So look out for that. If you follow No Fly on the Wall on Twitter or whatever, look out for that.
Make sure you post that in the group. And the group I'm talking about is the I'm Possible Facebook group. It's got just over 1,000 women of colour from all around the world. We talk about the world unedited, and we go for it. We try and make sure we have solutions. So please post it in there so we all know what's going on as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wonderful. What a joy. Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. This has been Talking Tuesdays, May 2015. Back in effect, we created history. We had all these amazing women with us, and thank you so much for listening. Be back here first Tuesday of the month in June. Okay, take care.
Mwah. Bye.